I'm always obsessed with what I meant to say, and when I try to make sense of it all, I get lost in the moment and let the moment slip away. There's something about the words you say, I hear them when you're not around, and there's something about that look in your eyes and your voice's sound. Well, we can leave this town, pretend that that's the problem, and we can live without, or we can live without. And then you tell me someday it's alright with me.
The following is a presentation of the Belly Up Sports Media Network.
You are listening to the 1420 Sports Bar Podcast. 4 beer with a sports talk and a whole lot more. We are part of the Belly Up Sports Network. Listen in as Brent and Dave invite you to belly up to the bar with them to talk about everything in the world of sports, just like you would do at your favorite watering hole. It's sports, beer, and shenanigans, so belly up to the bar with us, grab a beverage, and let's get into it.
The 1420 Sports Bar Podcast, 4 beer sports talk and a whole lot more, episode number 305 on the 29th day of May 2023. Tonight's show is brought to you by SeatGeek.com, the SeatGeek app. Use promo code 1420pod at SeatGeek.com today and save yourself $20 on your first purchase of whatever tickets you want to get there at SeatGeek.com and on your first purchase. Thank you for making this part of your week each and every week here on the Belly Up Media Network and BellyUp.com. Go to BellyUp.com and check out all the great articles and other podcasts after this is the 1420 podcast each and every day here at 1420 World Headquarters. Dave, you made your way to Spit Stadium on Friday night. Shortly, I saw you there. Not sure what inning you got there in, but there was a little debacle. We won't talk about that. I'm held to a higher standard when I'm allowed to talk to about the WCBL and everything else. But a fact in the game, Dave, on Friday night, I can't remember if it was the 8th inning or the 9th inning, I took a fastball right to the noggin, untouched by the batter, the catcher, and everybody else. It was a 19 plus mile an hour fastball right to the face. And the next day I saw the catcher and the coaching staff in Lethbridge when I was in Medicine Hat, and I was like, hey, that can't happen, I said. And they said, well, it was a mix up between a new pitcher, new catcher. They didn't the signals. And then I got thinking, was that on purpose? Like, you were there to see the whole ordeal. Do you think that was just a mix-up, or was there a catcher that was a little bit rattled by a call that I may have made earlier in that baseball game?
The score at that point, I believe, was 8-1 for the home team, and the home team was pitching when that mix-up happened, right?
Yeah.
So I can't imagine them being any grudges to carry. I was just A, glad you're okay, and B, it didn't catch you in the junk, man. Like,
yeah, it was like when I saw it coming, down the pitcher's lane there, like, Tegan, put your hand up. Tegan's the catcher's name, Tegan Prono. Good kid. We get along quite well throughout. He's the catcher for PBA here in Lethbridge, the college team. And I kept seeing, like, put your hand up. And it's like they're there in like a second and a half. These pitchers are coming right now, right? Put your hand up. And I remember seeing the stitches right in my eyeballs. And yeah, he didn't put his hand up. And I probably swore a little louder with the crowd there and everything else than I should have. And yeah, but it was, I'm fine. Everything else, like, I thought I was going to get a concussion. But yeah, I didn't expect that on a Friday night, the home opener at Spit Stadium. That's for sure.
Yeah, like I said, we were all glad you're okay. Everybody kind of likes to see an umpire get beamed. It's a little mixed emotions when it's someone you kind of care for.
Yeah.
So if that was
make sure he's
Joe
okay,
West,
and then point and laugh. Yeah.
Yeah, if that was Joe West, it's like, shit, why couldn't it hit him on the shoulder blade, the tip of the shoulder where there's no padding or something like that? Really knock that son of a bitch down. But it was a good day. I didn't realize the entire Radlinski Western Canadian contingent was going to be there. I was just in touch with your better half, and I said, hey, if you want to come out for a smoke if I get there. sure thing. And then I started walking, and she goes, and then I go, "You're not working, are you?" "Oh no, the whole family's here." And little did I know the whole family except the producer. Got to work. Maybe
Yeah,
I don't know.
Jim
Did he
had
get
to
the
work
keys to the
at
house?
Jim had to work at the brewery out there in Vancouver. He was having a good time there, so everything else. But no, we mom's 75th birthday is this Wednesday, so the whole family came out to surprise her over the week. Last week we talked last week. My brother was here, and then my sister showed up on Friday and surprised everything else. We got a funny story to tell later on about our trip to Fort McLeod later that night. But anyways, Dave, the Stanley Cup Finals are now set. The Dallas Stars put up a stinker tonight. They got like 5-0 or 6-0 by the Vegas Golden Knights. It was a horrible hockey game right from the start. Dallas didn't get any goaltending. We'll talk about that in a second. But now it's the two hockey hotbeds. The Vegas Golden Knights, the Florida Panthers are squaring off to win Lord Stanley's mug. What are your thoughts? Do you think it's good for hockey, bad for hockey? Do you think it's going to be an eyeball catcher? What's your thoughts on the big matchup? I don't care about wins and losses. What's your thought about the two warm climate teams playing for Stanley Cup? What's your thoughts on the how that's going to turn out?
What about growing the game? I don't know how much it grows the game, but it's really going to hurt the ratings north of the border. Like I've watched maybe 2 periods of the semifinals. It's just going to depend on my schedule and how the games line up as to how much of the finals I watch. I would like to watch some because, like them or hate them, these teams, anyone that makes the Stanley Cup final earns their way there. Like you've done something right. You can't luck into it, and I hope it's a good series. Growing the game, I think it's good. Because
do you?
Yeah, when people say grow the game, I think it's all about now earning that casual fan, right? So now there's going to be some more casual fans in Florida, and
okay,
Vegas,
you're talking about growing the game fan wise and attendance audience wise like that way. You're not talking about growing the game with kids.
Well, no, I think it's hand in hand.
I shouldn't have interrupted. I apologize.
No, but that's okay. I think it goes hand in hand, right? Like, because for whatever reason, if someone in Florida, like, and I don't know what kind of access kids in development has access to the game, either in Florida or in Vegas, but if people are more interested in the game, and this gets them a little bit more attracted to the game, because it's such an awesome game to watch, especially at the high level when these guys are playing for keeps.
I think it's the best game to watch live.
I agree because there's no stops. There's no like, it's not situational play. It's anything can happen at any time.
One TV timeout per period and everything else, but there's action, go, like it's nonstop.
Yeah,
I think it's the best game to watch live.
Specifically at the highest level when they care, and let's face it, the playoffs. Everybody always says that NHL playoffs is the most fun sport to watch, and then because of the intensity, and that's what playoffs is about. And now it's fuck or walk for both these teams. Florida's on such a heater. I wonder if they can continue the rest versus rust thing. We're going to see what happens there. And Vegas is good, and I don't like either of these teams, so I don't even want to make a prediction, because I definitely have a team I would rather win, but I don't. It seems I've been jinxing shit a lot these playoffs, and I don't want to jinx it again.
Like you said, David, it's going to hurt the non or the traditional hockey markets watching this final. There's no doubt about that. People in Toronto aren't going to watch. I shouldn't say not. There's going to be less people watching. There's going to be less people watching in Chicago, less people watching in New York, less people watching in the original 6 teams.
The hockey hotbeds.
The hockey hotbeds, Vancouver, Calgary, Edmonton. Because now if all these teams are out, I personally, like the Florida Panthers have been around since 1993, I think, when they came to the league, and I couldn't name you 3 Panthers fans on the planet. And I follow hockey quite religiously. I don't know 3 Panthers fans. Yeah, you see a lot of Vegas Golden Knights or whatever they're called. The Vegas Golden Knights. You see some hats and jerseys here and there, but in general, it's obviously a bandwagon thing because they've been around since 2017. I don't think it does much good for the growth of the game at all having these two teams playing. I think the populations, it'll grow a fan base in Florida for a little bit. But 2 years from now, when Florida's shitty again and free agents got to roll through and everything else, no one in Florida is going to care again. Vegas seems to have a very good fan base compared to what Florida does. Like down in Sunrise, they don't get good crowds throughout the season in Sunrise, Florida. And yeah, people like to follow winter. People will always go and watch a winter play, no matter what level, what sport. Nobody ever pays to watch a team lose. When your team's winning, the place gets full. It's an odd situation. I get it that when people want to watch a team win and want to be part of it, it's great. But I don't think this does much good for the game of hockey in big picture.
Yeah, I don't know what to say about that, because are we saying like what is good for the game? Is good for the game bringing new eyeballs to the screen, or is good for the game is getting the people that would watch anyways that aren't watching because their team isn't involved this time, right? Like the traditional hockey markets where they actually have snow. Was it good for the game when the Kings won those 2 cups? They've been around a shit ton longer, but they like no one in Vegas, in Los Angeles, did they even have a parade, or was there a parade through like the Galleria?
There was, but I can't. And I've been to LA a number of times. I can't remember where it went down, but I can't see it being much of a parade. Like they'll have their 30,000 fans who come to the game, not every night, but like how big of the parade could it be? Because really, if they have a parade on a Dodger game day, then like if they wouldn't have it on a Saturday because of the Dodger game on, right? So I don't know how much these warm weather teams actually bring. It brings a TV market to an extent, but I don't know how much it grows the game of hockey. Do you know what I mean? Because
I do.
We've talked about this a ton, Dave, in the 2.5, 3 years we've been doing this stupid fucking show. That at the end of the day, hockey's it's a wealthy person's sport now to get kids into it. And so how much this actually helps bring things into effect, I don't know how much it grows the game of hockey having these two teams in it.
Well, here's the thing. Like, so
maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
And I don't know either. So last year, Colorado Avalanche won, and the MVP of that, the Conn Smythe winner, the best player in the Stanley Cup players was Cale Makar, a Calgary boy. So let's say now Cale Makar was playing for Florida this year. Would there be more eyeballs in Calgary watching? Like so if it's about eyeballs, right? And then same with Toronto. Like if name a Toronto kid, name a Winnipeg kid. And
Mitch Marner, Toronto.
Yeah, I get these kids these cities don't really push the needle south of the border, but it would definitely help the TV contracts for the rights holders north of the border. Is that growing the game? Like, when you see, I don't know what the ratio is. It used to be like 60-75% of all NHLers are Canadians. I would guess it's probably around 45 to 55% now.
I think it's still pretty high. I think it's pretty high. Vegas has a lot. Vegas has 15 Canadian kids on it.
Yeah, so all these markets in Canada might be watching anyways. Like not because they're not all of them, but there'll be a bump. Everybody wants to watch the hometown kid succeed on the professional level. What and like I guess like the whole thing I'm kind of dancing around. How do you define growing the game? Is growing the game is getting kids like 5-year-olds in skates and playing hockey and learn how to skate and playing hockey, or is growing the game getting more eyeballs on the screens and making more money
that's just
for the league, right?
You look at is growing the game having a team in Phoenix, and now we have Austin Matthews, one of the top 10 players in the league. People thought he was a top 5. I think he's a top 10 guy now. Personally, is that growing the game where there's one kid there's more than one kid from Arizona, but one of the top players in the league now is from Arizona, and on a team that's been unsuccessful throughout its history. So is that growing the game? Like what's the definition of growing the game of hockey when it comes down to it? Right, I don't care. Hockey, it's like I don't care. People who say they're hockey fans down there, it's still there. And then Florida, it's still probably the Miami Panthers, Florida Panthers are probably going to be on for this week. They'll be on the front page. A week from now, they'll be on the 5th page of sports news.
Well, yeah, they're not gonna.
Like Miami Hurricanes football,
Japanese,
Florida Seminoles football, blah, it's just like how much has the game actually grown? If you big picture, like really,
and I don't know. I agree with you. And I would imagine if I'm an NHL player, I would be kind of like you keep bragging about growing this game, Gary Bettman. How about getting that salary cap up there? I saw a stat today. Like
that's
it was, I think 20 years ago, the NBA and NHL had the exact same salary cap. Now the NBA salary cap is up around 121 or 250 million. It's ridiculous. And the NHL,
so how big is the game?
Salary cap. Yeah. So where's if we're growing the game so much?
That's a really good point. That now that you see, I know I surprised you with this topic a little bit, Dave, and we've kind of shoot from the hip a little bit here at the 1420 podcast, brought to you by SeatGeek and SeatGeek.com. But it's funny when you think about it. The other sports, the salaries have gone up exponentially in the last 20 years, 30 years, whatever you want to talk about. And hockey really hasn't. Yeah, you have your $10 million guy, your $12 million guy, like one or two of them. But in general, most guys are making not more than me and you make, but it's not grown that much. It hasn't.
Well, and then you put it into context. An NBA team has, I want to say 250. It's ridiculous. And you got 12 players, of which 7 see the court, of which 3 decide how your season's going to go. In the NHL, you have 23, and the highest paid is still only sees 20 minutes a night. And if you can't play your horse 20 minutes a night unless he's a goalie, obviously. It's just, if you're telling me this game is growing so much, that means more money, and that means how come I'm not getting fucking paid like these NBA guys?
Well, we brought that up a few weeks ago. Now the Ryan Reynolds, whatever group he was part of, he was going to be part of the Senators, and they say, okay, well, all of a sudden this franchise worth $1 billion, so that says there must be some growth in the National Hockey League for these franchises. But why hasn't it filtered down to the players? Because it hasn't. It really hasn't. So how much has this game grown? Is this just become another one of those rich person entities that says, well, this is worth this much, but only if you have this much. It's just a rich person's game that and I'm not talking rich person like for the kids to play. I'm talking a rich person's like horse racing, because the Kentucky Derby horses run the same fucking race that they do at Whoop Up Downs. Right?
Yeah.
Really, when it comes down
to
it.
Lap and a half or whatever.
Lap and a half, see you later.
Yeah,
I was there on Saturday. Same fucking race to me. They're a little faster, a little slower. Who cares?
Yeah.
Right? But they're just richer horses. Is the training the same? No. Is this the same? No. But it's the same fucking race. And it's just a rich man's game. So are these franchises only worth as much as someone is willing to pay for them? So is Bettman lying to people saying that, you know what? The game is growing. Well, to who? To the rich guy? To that guy selling his franchise? Is that it? Is that actually all it is? Is that actually all it is?
Well,
that's a good point
to me, right? Like he's growing the game as far as the owners are concerned. Because if you bought the whatever,
so now I have equity. Not these guys care about equity, but you know what I mean. Like they
care. Otherwise, they wouldn't buy it.
Oh, so wouldn't have
losing money. Yeah.
So now I have this franchise which supports my other businesses. Is that all it is?
I think it must, unless you're a fan, like whatever his name, Cohen for the Mets and the guy that bought the Clippers, and these guys try, and they try to win. Yeah, they do try, and they have other teams but I think now.
So the growth of the game hasn't really happened, really.
No, I don't think so. I don't see it, because
now that we just solved this problem, we can probably fucking hang out for the night and tip your server. Have a good night.
Well, I don't know then now how it's just really fascinating to me how this Phoenix disaster, the tire fire is finally out of control, and how do we put it out? And who's going to get paid? Because this tire fire of Arizona that's been smoldering for 20 odd years now has to get put out, and who's writing the check to put it out, and where's it going? And if you can tell me that franchise is worth $500 million, I'd call you a liar.
You think how fucked up this is, Dave? That Phoenix franchise, for Arizona, what you want to call them, the Arizona Coyotes franchise, it is in a worse state of disrepair than the Oakland A's are. Think about that. The Oakland A's are on pace. They're on pace to win like 30 games this season. Their plus minus run ratio is minus 199. I think they're actually winning tonight, which is odd. But as I say this, but
blind dog finds a nut, or blind squirrel finds a nut.
But you think about this, how fucked up this is. The Arizona Coyotes are in a worse situation than the Oakland A's, who will not have a home next year. Because they're going to say, but the baseball, they're going to Vegas. The building, the drawings are out there, the this and that and everything else. The Oakland A's at this moment are better, more stable financially, all of it, than the Phoenix Coyotes. So how strong is your fucking league, Bettman? Like all this growing your game, I think you're lying to us, man. You're lying to us.
Yeah. Like, and you can show us all the numbers you want, but do those numbers even keep up with inflation? Right? I'm paying more for groceries and gas than I was 10 years ago, right? So, what else is growing, right? Like everything's growing, like it's just on a comparative level. So, yeah, I don't like. Gary Bettman clearly has done right by the owners. Otherwise, he wouldn't be the longest serving commissioner in sports history. But don't tell me you're growing the game. Like,
it's not.
How are you growing the game? You pulled the fucking game out of the Olympics because the owners didn't want it there.
Bingo.
Right? That's not growing the game. Like every other sport, right? But you'll parade them out and play a couple of exhibition games and regular season game in Sweden. And they did in Japan once. But they're
doing
NFL,
something next season as well,
right.
And who knows, whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, but the NFL and Major League Baseball, who as a general don't give a shit about anything
overseas
that happens outside. They're trying to grow the game. The NBA is big in China, right? They're trying to grow the game. The NHL, even though it is probably the most international game of all of them, aside from soccer, but
we're talking the big four North American ones, yeah.
Correct. The NHL probably has the highest percentage of foreign-born players outside of North America, and they're not growing the game for shit. So, I don't know.
Yeah, I think when Gary tells his stats and everything else, and he says this and says that, I think I think there's a good portion of Canadian fans, or I shouldn't say Canadian fans, but there are a lot of American hockey fans who do listen to our show who are like, yeah, they know their stuff probably better than we do. Actually, it's just it's like, Gary, you've been lying for a long time, man, because this game isn't bigger. And actually, if you want to get down to the brass tacks of things, other than the people who go to games, the game has actually shrunk a little bit here in North America or in Canada, more so than it was. The game's not as popular in Canada as it was 20 years ago. It's not.
Oh, there's no chance, because there's not nearly as many kids playing it, right? And that's just simple fact, right? There might be just as many kids playing it, and there might be the numbers might be the same or a little bit high, but as a percentage of kids, I don't think it's even close. And then once you get to the rep hockey and stuff like that and travel hockey teams, it whittles down really fucking quick.
Well, Dave, where I grew up there in Fort Macleod, Alberta, it's been the same population basically with plus minus 300 since I was born, since fucking whatever. It's been 3,200 people forever in Fort Macleod, Alberta. And back when I was a kid, and like this old man get off my lawn stuff, but it's just fact. It's just fact. There were more kids playing minor hockey back then. Yes, but and yes, of course, it's the finances are different a lot now than they were back then. But the thing is, when I was a kid, 4, 5, 6 years old or whatever it was, when everybody starts playing back then, it wasn't a matter if you were playing hockey, it was when you were playing hockey. You might not have played more than 1 or 2 years, but it was every kid gave it a shot, no matter what. They tried to play hockey. You put skates on, they played Mighty Might hockey or whatever it was called back then, Tim Hortons, and every kid to a man played hockey, no matter what. And that doesn't happen nowadays. It doesn't. And yes,
No.
it's financially, it's just different, and it's just the way it is. And so the game hasn't grown, and I think it's actually shrunk. There's more people in the world, so there's more eyeballs watching it. So they can twist their stats and everything else, but yes, there are more people watching hockey, 100%. But percentage-wise, I don't think there is. I don't think there is.
Yeah, and is it a better game?
Yes.
We've talked about that. It's a more skilled game, but is it better?
It's not more entertaining. No.
No, it's not more entertaining, and and that takes eyeballs away too. I've always been a proponent. I love a fight, and I like good tough hockey, and I do agree with a lot of these rules with the blindside
headshots
and
everything else.
Yeah, because these kids are too fast and strong these days, and someone's going to get killed if they don't make those changes. But I didn't realize we were just going to wussify the whole league either, right? And put games in the hands of the refs like they do in the NBA, for fuck's sake. It bothers me a little bit that the toughness of the game that makes it so fun is starting to go away. And then I'm
it's not going away, it's gone away.
Yeah, and I'm a soccer guy, and I get and people give me shit on this and have wonked on me in the past about how they think that's such a soft sport. What these rule changes and what they're doing and how they're breeding these athletes right now, it's soft. I don't know, and then that why maybe NFL is going to be the last man standing as far as like a sport where you gotta hunker down, buckle up, lick your wounds and rub some dirt on it, whatever, because you're getting hit in that game. And they're turning these other games like NBA is ridiculously bad. Hockey is turning into ridiculously bad. Like, I don't get it. Like, what sport are we selling here anymore?
It's just so different, and it's not. And we're not that far removed, right? Like, it's not like it's 100 years ago. The game has changed. It's 10 years. How things have just changed completely. And the concussions and that happened about the 2000. It was 2011, 2012, and there's a bunch of suicides amongst players and everything else. It really changed a lot of the thinking amongst the hockey people throughout Canada and the United States. But to go from one extreme to the other like they have, it's crazy. Like it used to be, and we've talked about this before, it used to be a simple thing. Who won? Were there any fights? And no one cared who won.
Yeah, unless it was your team, right?
Right.
Yeah, but that's the casual fan. The casual fan is I think the fan that makes the difference. The fan
and that's the thing that makes me crazy, Dave, a little bit is, and like, I'm not condoning fighting. Like, yeah, I'm with you. Like, guys getting punched in the face and kids and everything else. I'm with you. It's entertaining. It's great. I find it still great to this day. I'm glad it's not my kid getting punched. I don't have any kids, but I'm getting at. But the thing is that when you watch a game like down in Florida, if there's a fight, or a game in Tampa, or a game in wherever, the southern states, Carolina, everything else, when there's a fight, the crowd is into it more than they are a goal. And that's to a person, man, woman, child.
Oh, man, I agree. Like, yeah.
Like, they're standing up, pounding on the glass, everything else. The Evander Kane blowing kisses when he got in that. He was punching the Vegas Golden Knights guy's ribs. He took him down, was giving the body shots, and he's blowing kisses at that bigger woman in the front row. Like, it's still an entertaining game, but the game has evolved to a thing that this did. Maybe it's just the game's different than what we're used to, Dave. And we were so used to that and so pounded our heads for 30 years, whatever it was. We can't go the other way. Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, and neither do I. And well, if they're growing the game and the players are making the same amount of money that they were 4 years ago, then who am I to say I don't know what growing the game is?
I think we just decided that they haven't grown the game. The game hasn't grown at all.
The game hasn't grown at all. No, same shit, different. Well, no, it's worse shit, different pale.
The game has not grown at all. Like,
nope.
the revenue that Gary says he's bringing in, it's twisted and turned lies. It's quasi economics to me. I don't know. Like you said,
yeah. I
if it's as big as he says it is, these franchises are worth as much as they say they are, then why aren't the players getting paid more?
Exactly. And then why doesn't Phoenix have a rink?
And why are they still looking for TV deals all the time?
Well, because contracts expire, but we'll see. And I think,
but if my contract was good, I wouldn't have to be looking for new ones. They would just be renewed and renewed and renewed and renewed, right?
And I do agree, and I hadn't seen this panel at all during the regular season. What NBC or ESPN, whatever they're doing with Bissonnette and Gretzky and trying to.
It's TNT, and then it's NBC. I think I don't know, but it's pretty good.
Yeah, whatever they're doing there, they're trying to bring some entertainment factor, and the way they break those guys breaking down the game is a lot different than they do it here on Sportsnet and Hockey Night in Canada. Yeah. It's a lot more show and telly, which is fine. Because once you're understanding the game, now you're actually growing the game, because someone who understands the game is going to want to watch it again and look for that kind of thing. So like I say, more eyeballs on the sport is a good thing, but the sport isn't as good as it was 10 years ago.
Yeah, and having I obviously I'm a Gretzky guy. Everybody's a Gretzky guy, but having Wayne Gretzky describe the game seems like because he saw the game differently than everybody else, right? So
yeah,
well, you just do this. Well, I can't do that. Like, I physically can't do that.
Well, what I would do...
my brain doesn't work that way. My eyes didn't work that way. Everything else. That's why I'm sitting here in our basement doing a third-rate podcast. So, yeah, it's one of those things. It's just funny. Yeah, I don't know. It's probably going to be a very entertaining series. Two teams are flying. That Kachuk kid's unbelievable. Bobrovsky's been playing unbelievable goal for the Florida Panthers. I think it's going to be a great series. How much I will watch, I think the first game Saturday night, I know I can't watch because I'm busy, right? And that's another thing, Dave. Whoever decided playing hockey into June was a good idea, they're fucking stupid. They're stupid.
But these are hot weather cities, right? They never see snow. It's hot all 365 there.
But now you're losing the northern states because they want to be outside doing stuff. So we only get 3 days of summer sometimes, it feels like. And then Canada, you don't want to go. And then they'll put a game on Saturday afternoon or at 4:00 and you're barbecuing, doing whatever. Baseball's happening on and on and on. We got different things going on. To put the season this late, it's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. Because I the other day I was seeing that the Edmonton Oilers won their 4th or 5th Stanley Cup 4 days ago this day 30, 40 years ago, whatever it was. That's when hockey, it's over. When you get into golfing season, you get into water skiing season, you get into barbecue season, whatever your wife might have planned, gardening season for you because you got that going on. Like it's one of the the northern states, and unless you're an absolute hockey freak, you're not watching.
Or your home team is in the,
unless your team's playing, you're not watching.
Because when we were kids, our team was in every year when you
Flames Oilers were in till the end of May, and then at the end of May it was done, and that's and that's 2 days from now. The Stanley Cup final won't start until the 3rd of June.
I'm not crazy about that, but I'm not watching it. So who the fuck am I to say that's stupid?
Well, that's why you're not watching it. That's one of the reasons why you're not watching.
It adds to, right?
It might not be reason number one, but it adds to it.
I think I've said it before. Like when did it become against the law to play a back-to-back during the playoffs? They did it all the time back in the day, all the time. Like they got
a best of 5. Could have been done in 4 days.
Yeah,
you did the playoffs. You were done in 4 days.
Oh yeah. I agree, and I understand why they changed it to 7, and I understand
money and everything else.
But I don't understand why they have to go every other day. Like, there's no crime in a back-to-back here. There should be at least one back-to-back every series.
Yep.
Because this every other day stuff is a drag.
Yeah, I don't get it. Anyways.
Yeah, idiots.
1420 Sports Bar Podcast, 4 beer sports talking a whole lot more. This segment is brought to you by SeatGeek and SeatGeek.com. Use promo code 1420pod at SeatGeek.com and save yourself $20 on your first purchase. Baseball tickets, Taylor Swift tickets, or whatever you want to get at SeatGeek today. Swifty, have you heard her new stuff?
No, I haven't heard her old stuff. Why would I listen to her new stuff?
I don't know. I live with someone who listens to it. When she listens to it, we live together. When she doesn't listen to it, I love her.
Your roommate likes it a lot.
My roommate likes it.
My better half, not so much.
That's right.
That's not bad.
SeatGeek is the ticketing app for fans like the high five strangers got. Game-winning interception. First down. Just a nice, solid tackle. If you're in arm's length, you will be swapping skin with this extrovert. You see, he knows SeatGeek got him a great deal on tickets, so he can focus on what he does best, smacking palms. SeatGeek handles the tickets to sports, concerts, and more, so fans can fan.
You just listened to the 1420 Sports Bar Podcast. 4 beer with sports talking a whole lot more. We are part of the Belly Up Media Network. Let's get into it.